Good evening, I'm Cynthia Ng. You are tuning in to AWANI Tonight. Several party accounts of Bersatu had been frozen by the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission (MACC). Chief Commissioner Tan Sri Azam Baki said the accounts had been frozen to facilitate investigations under the Anti-Money Laundering, Anti-Terrorism Financing and Proceeds of Unlawful Activities Act 2001. Bersatu Secretary General Datuk Sri Hamzah Zainuddin said that the party will cooperate with MACC in its investigations, but accused the government of using the anti-graft agency as a political tool. He claimed the government's actions are aimed at destroying the credibility of the party and Perhilitan Nasional. It is learned that the accounts were frozen in connection to a probe into the alleged misappropriation of funds for COVID-19 stimulus packages. Previously, Bersatu President and Perhilitan Nasional Chairman Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin denied claims his government had misappropriated 92.5 billion ringgit when he was the Prime Minister. He said he was confident MACC would clear him of any wrongdoing. Datuk Sri Tengku Zafrul Abdul Aziz said that he will run in UMNO's election for a Supreme Council spot this year if given the opportunity. He told Astro that the move is to allow him to build a foundation in the service of politics for the long term.
The International Trade and Industry Minister said that the political landscape is increasingly dynamic, which allows healthy and productive competition. He believes that UMNO and Barisan Nasional's party leaders and grassroots want to see a combination of more dynamic leadership and diverse backgrounds to strengthen the party post-GE15. Zafrul has been appointed a Kota Raja Division Committee member amid growing speculation that the party will field him as its candidate there for the Selangor state election due this year. Zafrul, who is a senator for the second term, cannot remain in the ministerial position until the end of the 5-year term in 2027 because his term as a member of the Dewan Negara will end in December 2025.
Wildlife crime offenders will now face a higher penalty of up to 1 million ringgit and jail less than 15 years if found guilty under Section 71 of the Wildlife Conservation Act amended 2022. This after the Wildlife and National Parks Department, Perhilitan, enforced 44 sections of the Act beginning today.
Perhilitan said the amendment to the Act, also known as Act A1646, was approved in Parliament in 2021 and gazetted on February 10th last year. The offences under the Act includes importing, exporting or re-exporting totally protected wildlife without special permit or smuggling. The department also categorized the crime as a large-scale transnational organized crime that needs to be stopped to ensure survival of wildlife species for future generations. Perhilitan urged the public to be aware of the enforcement of the Act and report information regarding wildlife crime activities to the department through its hotline at 1-800-88-5151 or the e-Adwan channel on www.wildlife.gov.my.
Effective today, films in the country will be classified into 5 new classifications. Home Minister Datuk Sri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail said the classification is aimed at preserving the freedom of adult viewers in choosing the movie they want to watch. At the same time, to protect those below the age of 18 from being exposed to inappropriate content which can damage their thinking and behavior. Now, this includes encouraging parents to be more responsible in guiding their children to choose suitable movie content to watch. The 5 new classifications are U, classified for viewers of all ages, while P12 requires parental guidance for viewers under the age of 12, 13 for viewers aged 13 and above, 16 for viewers aged 16 and above, and 18 for viewers aged 18 and above. Saifuddin said he expects the updated classifications to have a positive effect in streamlining and improving film classification standards in Malaysia to be on par with international rating standards. The Film Censorship Board last reclassified films in January 2012, which used the classifications of U, P13 and 18. The government aims to transform the federal territories of Kuala Lumpur and Labuan into smart cities by 2030. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim says this is in line with the concept of Malaysia Madani, which also emphasizes sustainability.
Anwar said the Federal Territories Department has drawn up a development agenda for the future in a sustainable, livable and smart manner. The transformation into smart cities would begin with the use of electric buses in Kuala Lumpur and Wang Semaju, installation of CCTVs in Kuala Lumpur and Putrajaya, and installation of Wi-Fi in people's housing and public housing projects in Labuan. Anwar also highlighted that the flood mitigation efforts will be continued in line with the flood mitigation plan that has been prepared.
We will go for a quick break. Stay tuned for more.
Cuaca panas menyebabkan kelumumur, minyak dan kegatalan. Clear Men 100% untuk para lelaki. Teknologi anti kelumumur 3 kali ganda. Tiada kelumumur, minyak atau kegatalan. Dingin pada kulit kepala. Clear Men terbukti menewaskan kelumumur.
New Catador Fondant au Beurre and Cafe Latte Brownie with Australian almonds in rich butterfudge ice cream and Italian chocolate pieces in Cafe Latte ice cream, bringing unforgettable and elevated moments at home. Now available in 2 new flavors.
Gardenia membawa kepuasan tak terhingga. Nikmati kepuasan hari ini. Gardenia puas.
Artificial intelligence technology can contribute up to 26% increase of the country's GDP in the next decade. This was outlined in the Malaysia Digital Economy Blueprint. So how can Malaysian businesses better harness its benefits even as more jobs are being replaced by machine learning? Astro AWANI's correspondent Farhana Sheikh has the story from the MIT IBM Watson AI Lab in Boston.
I'm currently in Boston, Massachusetts, visiting the MIT IBM Watson AI Lab. Now, especially in the post-COVID era, AI has proven to be a great tool in streamlining operations, ensuring faster workflow and smarter decision-making. Now, the lab that I'm privileged to visit is a home to a committee of scientists from MIT and IBM research who focused on pushing the frontiers of artificial intelligence. Now, they currently manage over 50 projects, which include large-scale AI that are efficient and robust to be used across all industries. Now let's hear what David Cox, the director of the lab, has to say about the importance of AI and their contributions.
We live in an accelerating world that's increasingly digital, and AI is going to be an incredibly important piece of that. And, you know, I think the COVID pandemic has been interesting because we found that many AI models actually broke during COVID because the world changed dramatically very quickly. So in many cases, models that had been trained on previous historical data suddenly weren't giving the right answers anymore because the world had changed and you know, people were staying home and different supply chains were disrupted. So the modern era in this post-COVID world is requiring us to be more resilient, more adaptable, more flexible. And I think every business is going to have to sort of get on the bandwagon to take advantage of these technologies so we can live in this, you know, increasingly dynamic world.
Even though automation and AI can take over many business processes and handle most repetitive tasks, David says the human element is vital to deliver meaningful experiences and create additional value.
Yeah. So one of the biggest challenges with AI actually doesn't have anything to do with AI itself. It has to do with people. So ultimately, AI systems are only valuable if it's people and the AI systems working together to achieve an outcome, you know, humans using these tools. So it's very important that these tools be explainable. You know, humans have to understand why a system is making why an AI system is making a decision. You know, if we use AI, for instance, to decide whether somebody gets a loan, if that person doesn't get a loan, they'll want to know why. And governments and regulators will also want to be able to tell them, you know, want the companies to be able to say why that happened. So it's not sufficient just to say that an AI system, you know, we made this decision because AI said so. We have to understand, and that's going to require technological development so the AI systems can explain themselves to humans. And it's also going to require people, humans, to better understand AI systems. Like, what are appropriate ways to use AI and what are ways that are concerning? How do you integrate AI into your business in a way that doesn't expose you to potential problems, but you can really harness that value? So I think it's going to be a joining together of increasingly powerful technologies that are able to interact with humans, explain themselves, know when they're confident, when they're not confident, give ability to fix a problem if you have a problem, but then also humans adapting gradually to using this new category of tools, businesses adapting their business models to incorporate AI. That coming together, I think, is when we're going to see the real power of AI really shine through.
That's all we have for now. I'm Fana Sheikh. Stay tuned for more only on Astro AWANI.
Boeing bid farewell to the iconic 747 jumbo jet as the company delivered its final plane to Atlas Air in a ceremony at the company's factory in Seattle. Thousands of workers joined Boeing and other industry executives from around the world to watch the last delivery of the historic plane. Some of them had helped build the jumbo jet over the past 55 years. Also known as the Queen of the Skies, the 747 was the world's first twin-aisle jetliner, which Boeing designed and built in 28 months. Since its first flight in 1969, the 747 has served as a cargo plane and a commercial aircraft capable of carrying nearly 500 passengers. It also served as transport for NASA's space shuttles and the Air Force One presidential aircraft. Desi Evans was a Boeing employee who worked on the very first 747.
I'm very, very happy, and I'm at the same time a little sad because we don't like to see it come to an end because it's such a wonderful, as the word they use, iconic airplane, right? But eventually it's like so many airplanes, you finally meet a time where you have to move on, right?
So this is my last airplane. I work on it. Yeah, I'm very excited. At the same time, I'm very sad about it because this is going to be the last ones.
The 747 had helped revolutionize travel, connecting international cities that never before had direct routes and helped democratize passenger flight. But after 5 decades, customer demand for the 747 eroded as Boeing and its rival Airbus developed more fuel-efficient two-engine wide-body planes. The final plane delivered to Atlas Air is the 1,574th built by Boeing. Today marks 2 years since the Myanmar military ousted Aung San Suu Kyi's elected government in a coup that led to an unrest that has killed at least 2,000 civilians. Since then, the country has fallen into what many now call a civil war with no solution in sight. People in Thailand and the Philippines held demonstrations today to show solidarity with the Burmese people, even as pro-democracy activists in Myanmar held a silent strike in fear of military violence.
Hundreds of protesters, mostly Burmese, chanted anti-military slogans near the Myanmar embassy in Bangkok, calling for the immediate release of Suu Kyi and President Win Myint and for the junta to step down and restore democracy. Meanwhile, in the Philippines, dozens of local activists held a solidarity rally in front of the Myanmar embassy in Manila, calling for the release of thousands of political prisoners.
As we speak, there is a near civil war going on in Myanmar. The big difference between today and the previous military dictatorships foisted by the military junta is that today there's almost near universal rejection of SAC. There is a growing resistance against them, including armed resistance. The world cannot afford to ignore this development. We have to help the people of Myanmar.
Myanmar was already one of Southeast Asia's poorest countries prior to the coup, with 40% of the population living below the poverty line. The military takeover has exacerbated the situation in the country, with many in need of food, shelter, and access to healthcare and clean water. International humanitarian groups have said they found it difficult to send assistance to Myanmar, citing safety and security issues. Junta leader General Min Aung Hlaing appears to be increasingly desperate to justify the military's seizure of power through the ballot box. He had pledged to hold an election this year.
That wraps up Awani Tonight. I'm Cynthia Ng. Thank you for watching. Good night.